folks. This is Danny at Partay. Just checking in this morning. I wanted to give an update while I had a cup of coffee here. I figured this was a nice quiet moment to get some information out there. But I've had a number of folks who have reached out wanting to know what we were actually looking to do in regards to Mr. Bird, because we've hinted at it and kind of brought up some statements that, it's all coming to an end soon. And I'm going to explain why. I've watched the back and forth, as the screen squirm kind of soap opera thing back and forth. And I'll just opine on one thing only. One of the most hilarious things that I've seen is Kenneth Bird told Crow to mind his own business when it came to, business between Ken and his customers. I just have to ask, if that's the case, then Ken, why would you put an hour-long video out where you're bashing your customer for people to publicly see? Doesn't that kind of make it other people's business? So, just more of the same from this guy. But here's my issue. This could go on forever. This back and forth exchange that's went on for the past 3 years since I've been out here. And, you ultimately come to the conclusion that, the reality is there's just some people that you cannot shame, that have no shame. And no matter how many times you call them out for the things that they're doing wrong, the reality again is that they realize the things that they're doing wrong because they're being done intentionally. And they just don't care because, quite frankly, Kenneth gets to hide behind his camera the whole time, right? He feels as though he's untouchable. And that's not accurate. And we're going to explain why. So, yes, we have been making some pretty good movement. Now, if you guys remember, I'd mentioned a while back that I'd done a scrub of the U.S. Patent Office catalog to just take a look and see, does Mr. Bird truly hold any patents? Because on his website, he says all products patented. So I did a scrub and I came up empty. Couldn't find anything. So once I started talking with legal counsel, the thing that became evident is that me as a competitor, I can't go out there and do this confirmation. It's not going to be official. So that meant money, meant that I had to pay a paralegal team to run essentially the same scrub. But they did do one thing I didn't do, and that was they did a full categorical search, not just on Ken Bird, not just on any of his past company names. So they did a full search, full scan, and came up with 0 patents, which we all know. Right? We all know that that's the case. There's not going to be any patents. But the truth is that now we have that officially confirmed. So we will be working with the Federal Patent Office, the U.S. Patent Office, to draw into question Mr. Bird's claims. Once they validate that Mr. Bird is claiming that he has patented products when he does not, and I know that there's a lot of people out there who feel like that's just not that big of a deal. It is. Okay. And I remember whenever I had about 1.5 years ago, I'd sent an email, and I mentioned this in a video that I'd sent an email to Ken asking him for his patent IDs. I even asked for them on the video. And I had a couple of individuals send me these chuckling emails. Oh, now you're the patent police. You're damn right. And here's why. Because that is the grease that opens the roadway, slickens the roadway for us to be able to prosecute Mr. Bird. You see, it is a violation. It's a federal violation to call your products patented when they're not. Comes with it penalties. Okay, those penalties can be up to $300 per incident. Incident being every unit of product sold. All right, but that's really not what we're interested in here. What we really want is confirmed consumer fraud, which we'll have coming out of the U.S. Patent Office. And then we're going to take that and walk that along with a package of evidential material and affidavits from professionals that's going to be walked over to the Federal Trade Commission. Now, the Federal Trade Commission investigates consumer fraud. We will have confirmed consumer fraud because ignorance of the law does not matter. It doesn't matter that Mr. Bird doesn't know what patents really are, that patents are actually awarded. It's not just something you submit a form with a $200 fee and boom, you get your patent. It doesn't work that way. And ignorance of the law when you get into business doesn't protect you at all. People find that out very, very harshly the hard way whenever they start to open a business and you make missteps. So it can be a very expensive lesson. So it will be. But the Federal Trade Commission port won't just be for fines. We're looking for jail time. Now, more than likely, it'll be local jail time, somewhere between 30 days to 120 days. Local jail time is what I understand from counsel. That is the most typical penalty that would be associated with this, along with the fines. Now, the fines can be up to, at the Federal Trade Commission level for consumer fraud and marketing fraud, can be 40, somewhere in a ballpark of about 40,000 per instance. And I forget what the aggregate, well, I actually know the aggregate is somewhere around 1.3 million, if I remember correctly. So it can be very expensive, but it's not the money that I'm really looking for here. What I'm looking for is two things: accountability and that channel closed. And both of those things are going to happen. Confirmed consumer fraud already exists. As trite as that seemed to those couple of people that sent those chuckling emails, the reality is it's always that stupid little mistake that get criminals caught. And this is Mr. Bird's stupid little mistake. But it's not just going to be Mr. Bird. Let me be clear here, too. We're going after Kenneth Bird, June Santana, and Taiaku Ha. Right? That's his VP and his CEO. They are just as liable as Kenneth Bird. All of them will be equally liable. Even though Kenneth's the one out there running his mouth, they'll all be held equally liable. So a lot of you say, well, because I know I've had people reach out to me and say, well, I don't think that they're real. I think that they're real people. Whether or not that's their real names, whether or not they're really associated with Kenneth Bird, well, does it really matter? See, think about it. All of this has been a big chess game. And I've told people I play the long game. I've told Ken, I've warned him. I've been very honest about everything that I was going to do along the way. And I do play the long game. And all those little things that he thinks are stupid and he just doubles down on, they're going to come back to haunt him. See, we have affidavits against all the statements. Now, this is not evidence, or this is not proof. But along with the proof of consumer fraud around the patent violation, we're going to be submitting a lot of evidence that shows malicious intent on Mr. Bird's part. That evidence is going to be where he has lied to people about lumens dropping out of the sky, not the way it works, that he has lied to people about how the light, he can take lamps and basically block 50% of the light coming from the projector by shoving those lamps in front of the projector, aiming them at the projector lens. When the reality is Mr. Bird would need to do nothing more than look at the screen and he can tell that there was absolutely zero change. There's no way for him to be able to back that up. It's just a lie that he uses, just like his 24 feet back, 28 feet back. See, this may surprise people, but the distance isn't really what matters there. What actually is happening is the lens. If you have a lens that will allow you to go that far back and still push things at a certain size on the screen, then that's what it does. It's a feature of that product. Your consumer grade projects probably only have a zoom ratio, most of them, of around 1.2. So for you to get the same size image, you probably would never be able to go back more than about 4 to 6 feet. Now, part of that package that we'll be delivering to the Federal Trade Commission, this is where those of you who have reached out to me, this is your turn at bat. So at that time, and I want to be clear here right now, please do not send me any information around a purchase that you made from Ken and any details around it. Okay, please do not send that information to me. If you do, I'm going to need to delete it. I should not have anything that approaches confidential information being sent to me. When the time's appropriate, and it won't be too long, excuse me, but when the time's appropriate, we're going to have you send that information. I'll do an upload that gives you information on where to send your information, what information would need to be sent. And my understanding is, and if I caught this correctly, this is going to go to the paralegal team, which would then go to the Federal Trade Commission once they organize it. Because I don't think the Federal Trade Commission will kind of manage that. Maybe they do. I don't know. So that much I didn't really ask that deep of a question on. But we will be sending all of the parties that have claims to the Federal Trade Commission. Now that opens up other opportunities too. So if it's necessary, and from what I'm being told right now, it should never even come to the point that it would be necessary given the amount of detail that we have on Mr. Bird and Miss Santana and Mr. Ha. So what we're going to do, oh, and let me back up. Any other business associates that Mr. Bird has contracts with, okay, that are discoverable, those will be assessed to see what those individuals know about the product too, and if they're representing those same claims as patented and some of those other things like the 12 times gain. See, all that stuff, there's nothing to correlate that to. There's industry standards out there, and you can deviate from industry standard if you have a means to tie it back to something that people can relate to, and you can show that. That's like the difference between projectors saying, 2,000 ANSI lumens versus 6,000 lux. Well, 6,000 lux is only going to be about 400 to 500 lumens, right? But they still have something they can tie back to as far as a source light measurement on the surface of a screen, probably, I exaggerated, an inch away, right? but they still have something to correlate it to. With Mr. Bird's gain claims, there's nothing that ties back to. So that is nothing more than just a buzz term where he's using an industry standard to try to make it look like his product has much more legitimacy than it actually does. So all of these things are going to come back to haunt Mr. Bird. He's gotten awfully comfortable out there just thinking he's completely untouchable. Well, you're about to be touched in a very appropriate manner. And like I said, it opens up additional avenues like a civil suit, but I don't, what I'm being told right now is that it should never have to come down to that. So we'll see. It's always an option. But some of the other things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be prying into Mr. Bird's income, because we believe, and I'm sure many of you do the same. See, Mr. Bird has said that he was raised military, but that's not the same as being military, which means that I don't believe that he has any kind of military income. I believe it's something more of the fixed nature and the flavor of disability related to his upper respiratory condition. Okay. And I'm not making light of any kind of upper respiratory condition, but we have seen this guy many times working with toxic materials without any kind of respirator on, not even wearing so much as a mask, okay? But he claims it's respiratory condition. So a lot of people have drawn that into question. The problem is that we're not going to go after the fact that he should be wearing a mask or anything like that. Okay, we're not going to get into he said, she said, or whether he should be able to do that. What we're going after is that whenever you're receiving income in that flavor, you can only earn so much supplemental income. So we're going to be digging in to see if Mr. Bird is actually claiming all the income from the sales of this product and how that conflicts with his fixed income. Okay, and these are usually the areas where you bring people down, because they're usually trying to hide something on the back end. And we know that Mr. Bird's kind of a slimy individual, really a really very large jerk, but I think also slimy. So I just think that a lot of the things that he said out there is just total crap, right? So when you say that you're earning $100,000 a month, well, your life just doesn't add up to that. It just doesn't. The surroundings around you, you rent the house. If you were earning $100,000 a month, maybe you'd still rent somewhere. There's nothing wrong with renting by no means. But would that be the house that you would be at? And secondly, would you not have a bed? Would you not have major furniture components? Would you not be able to have a change of clothes? And would you not buy yourself some teeth? So, all of these things, his lifestyle doesn't add up with the things that he says. But we're going to find out. Here's the beauty. We're about to crack open the hood on the whole Crystal Edge operation. We're going to be able to know. You remember all those shipping updates that he does where he's showing all those canisters? We're going to know whether or not that's the case, because they'll pull a transaction report on him for, I don't know how far back, but they will pull one. We've already discussed that. So they'll pull a transaction report. And what they're going to be able to see is just how many of those canisters were actually being sold. So you kind of boxed in, because either you're selling those and now that's going to work against your fixed income, or you're not selling those, which means that once again, you're lying and just does nothing but bolster the case that you are lying to your customers out there, misrepresenting things. See, you can come out and say things like, boy, they're selling. We're selling a lot of them. See, those are all sort of, they got a level of objectivity to them where you can say, well, a lot, what does a lot mean, right? A lot may mean different to him versus somebody else. But when you've come out and said that you've sold 60 or 100 within a certain time period, and we see that that's not the case, that all of that is complete lies, well, that's misrepresentation again to your customers, okay? Because you're being very specific with the intent of making people believe that this stuff's just flying off the shelves like hotcakes, and it's not. We know that. But we're going to be able to prove all of that. And fortunately for me, now I won't be able to share everything that comes out, but I will be able to share some things that aren't confidential, and those kind of things won't be confidential. So I will be able to share some information from you as we go along, or with you as we move forward. So just wanted to put this out here. We're going to get back. I've got a video that'll be uploaded probably Monday, Tuesday, that'll start talking about our products and us coming online and what our plans are as far as uploads as we move forward, because we're going to be covering a number of different items surrounding projection, including screens, even room environment and accessories and things like that that you can use to improve your experience. But for right now, I just wanted to focus on this to give you an update so that you can be aware of the actions that we're taking, and you can rest assured that it will not be very long to where this soap opera gets canceled. You guys take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.